Boom, we're on. How you doing, everyone? Welcome to my channel. My name is Alexander, and today I wanted to discuss something that's called a monk mode. Okay, maybe you've heard of it. If you haven't, is what sort of a new term for what people call a period of very focused work and no partying, which is great, and I'm all for it. There is no way I can want to stop someone from doing focused work for a period of time. That's what I'm doing myself. For this month I've been especially working a lot, and pretty much I've been in the real monk mode, not in the something that people call monk mode. So I want to discuss that. I want to sort of go over what currently people call as monk mode, and then tell you what actually being a monk and living like a monk would look like, and at least bring a bit more rigor and efficiency into the language, okay? Because in specificity, in fact, we want to be quite specific with the words we use, and there's a reason for it, okay? When we're trying to explain something, it's okay to use different words, and if something is off color blue, to say bluish, reddish, or that was kind of confusing-ish. You're trying to explain something, that's one thing, but when you're calling a specific action or a specific object something, you better be as specific as possible. You better be as specific as possible. Okay, if you're calling a phone, that's good. If you're calling it a communication device, that's also good. But if you're calling a chair a car, that'll be a bit confusing, right? So we want to be quite clear. So monk mode, okay? I'm going to share my screen real quick. So look, just gonna move myself here, just from kind of quick look on the internet, and I've seen a couple of videos, and look, I'm not kind of bashing anyone who uses that term for using it wrongly. I'm just bringing some correction and some rigor here, okay? So generally what people think is a monk mode is a challenge and some sort of detox in terms of limiting number of, maybe not having alcohol or abstaining of certain stimulants like coffee or tea. If somebody's using drugs or smoking cannabis, it's also going to be them stopping that, maybe even not partying for a bit. And the challenge is like an amount of work they want to do. Usually a monk mode is done for a purpose, to accomplish some work, which is a great purpose, and I'm all for it, okay? I'm very much for the drive, for the purpose, okay? It's incredible. Yet the term isn't used quite correctly, okay? Being a monk is not quite about just a detox and a challenge, although there is a challenge in being a monk, absolutely, right? And there is a detox because that helps to connect with the divine energies, right? This is really what being a monk is about. And there's a couple things, there's a bit more rules to that. But currently, this is where we have it, okay? Being a monk is really simple. It's simply this: going into monk mode means you and everyone around you knows you're going to be focused only on work, okay? So the word focus is very much common when we're looking at monk mode, okay? When we go here as well, enter monk mode, a period of dedicated time to a specific task or goal, okay? Dedicated time to a specific task or goal. So focusing on a task or a goal, okay? You're going to be in that mode, and either as long as you need to do the task, writing a book, writing a code for software, doing some other work, building something, working out, finding a job, finishing your dissertation, whatever that be. Really, what I'm seeing is, what this really is a focus mode, or a deep focus mode, or a period of deep focus. So you want to call it a deep focus mode, more so, okay? This is really what it is. There's nothing, look at this, there's a picture of a happy monk. He's smiling, okay? He's happy, he's smiling. There's a little happy cloud, there's little plus signs. I don't know, does that mean he's feeling very positive? Nothing like that occurs in nature. There's like some nicely put rocks that bring a bit of peace. He's in the mountains. He's all happy, little happy monk. Okay? This is not what monk mode, this is not what people mean by monk mode when they say it. So it's a very confusing term. So, what I really want to bring is rigor, so people stop using that word, Okay, again, word focus. Now, monks are very good at focusing. Okay, they're very good at focusing, and they're very good at getting done what's needed, what needs to be done, whether that's building something, making food, teaching people, whatever else they need to be doing, fundraising. Okay, but it was never about work in the first place. Being a monk is detaching yourself from the outer world, is removing yourself from that constant chase of the next goal, okay, of the next, of your work, is detaching yourself from work, detaching yourself from focusing on these external things, okay, and going other way, going to the path of some people call divine, going out of it, breaking through that cycle, breaking the wheel of sankara, other ways to say it in different languages, but it's about snapping out, really. It's about snapping out, okay? And a couple things happen as you do that. You really stop caring about the external goals so much, okay? You stop intoxicating yourself because you become blissful by your own nature, okay? You become happy by your own nature. You don't need external stimulation. You don't need coffee, you don't need alcohol, you don't need drugs, cannabis, you don't need antidepressants, you don't need all sorts of other stuff. You don't really even need food to feel good. You eat for nourishment, you eat for energy, you eat as your body needs energy. If you have a lot of physical work to do, you eat more. If you have less physical work to do, you eat less. Okay, and that's just about it. You don't eat for pleasure. You don't need to be like eating chocolates and ice creams and kind of that. Which, by the way, I'm not saying any of these things are wrong. They're great. If you want to pursue goals in this life, do that. If you want to be with women, do that. If you want to eat tasty food or ice cream, do that. I'm not saying this is wrong, but yet the word monk means something completely different. Okay, I'm just going to show you main principles of vipassana, the main codes, precepts. Something, and so vipassana is a meditation retreat. It's a 10-day meditation retreat. Out of those 10 days, 9.5. So I'm just gonna slightly bend that. It's hard to. Okay, 9.5 are silent. There is silence. There is no conversation. You can only ask for for things if you need a pillow or your bed is broken or something, and you can speak to the instructor about the meditation technique. But that's about it. It's silent meditation retreat. Now, why is it silent? Because one of the precepts is to abstain. I'm going to zoom in on this as well a little bit. Is to abstain from telling lies. Okay, to abstain from telling lies. Now, well, how does that exactly mean silence? Well, as they've been doing these 10-day retreats, these are the rules: to abstain from killing any being. Yeah, so you don't murder people, you don't murder any other beings. So you don't eat meat. That's part of vipassana. That's part of those 10 days. Okay, to abstain from stealing. You don't steal for those 10 days. Okay, to abstain from all sexual activity. That's obviously with your partner, with women, or whatever people prefer, and also with yourself. Yeah, so no masturbation, no self-pleasure. Okay. To abstain from all intoxicants, so that's alcohol, tobacco, drugs, and cannabis, right? And abstain from telling lies. Now, what they found, as people could speak, because they're used to lying so much, the momentum of just being used to lying in the world is so strong that it's really hard to control. And so what they found is a lot easier to do is just to tell people to shut up and not lie, okay? And just not speak at all. So these are like the main precepts of vipassana. So that's your sort of a 10-day, kind of like a monk life experience. Okay. Now, obviously, I know that for people out there working and everything, it'll be impossible to be completely quiet. And maybe some people even think that if they work in sales, if they work in property, or anywhere, that they need to be telling lies to even maintain their job and things. So I'm not going to tell you whether this is wrong or right. I'm just going to say, do this to your best ability, okay? But if you really want to do monk mode, this is what you do. You stop eating meat, okay? Stop stealing. Now, I don't know anyone who casually steals things, but I guess if you're a criminal, that'll be a thing for you to do. You stop sexual activity, okay? So you stop masturbation, you stop watching pornography, you stop having sex with your girlfriend, with your wife, or with your, 1,000 of your casual partners. Okay, you put that all on pause, okay, which is quite difficult for most people. Okay, you stop all intoxication. That means alcohol, drugs, coffee, tea. Okay, now a lot of people are thinking, well, what's wrong with coffee? What's wrong with tea? Well, in fact, they are psychoactive. Okay, in fact, countrymen right now, United Kingdom, England, UK, has passed a law in 2018 banning everything, all psychoactive substances. Okay, so everything that affects your mind and alters your state of consciousness, except tobacco, coffee, and alcohol. Okay, these three are still allowed. Tobacco, coffee, and alcohol. I want to say coffee. Tea also has caffeine. In fact, black tea, British breakfast tea, or is it just called breakfast tea? Breakfast tea has a lot of caffeine in it. Sometimes even more than coffees or more than certain types of coffee. And so if you want to be truly monk, you abstain from those three as well. Okay, from tobacco, from coffee, from alcohol. Now it's easy to abstain from alcohol, but you'll be thinking, what's wrong with coffee and tea? Same reason. It affects your consciousness. It puts you in that work mode, and if you're quite sensitive and if you meditate, you will understand that. Okay. You also might ask, what's wrong with sexual activity? Nothing necessarily wrong with it. Yet, if you're a monk, part of the life is to keep your energy to yourself, to maintain your energy, to keep that energy inwards, because this is very powerful energy that you're exchanging with the person. You get entangled. You know, anyone knows the word entanglement? Will Smith really likes that one. You get entangled with your partner, and you share kind of energies with them, and you kind of become mentally connected, and you know how they feel all the time, and so you become quite attached to them, and this way you become quite attached to the world. Yet the whole point of being a monk is to detach as much as possible, yet to stay alive. Okay, so Vipassana is really a monk mode, because you go there for 10 days, 9.5 of them you're silent, you meditate 10 hours a day, you don't have sex, you don't drink coffee, you don't kill, you don't eat meat. Okay, that is more of a monk mode. So an application of a monk mode like that in real life would be, instead of 10 hours a day of meditation, you maybe do 1 or 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever, but maybe between 1 and 2 hours for most people, 3 hours of meditation a day, and the rest of the time you work on what you really want to make: a book, you produce content for social media, you're working in sales, you work in finance, you work in recruitment, you work as a chef or whatever else. You just focus on that, stay off intoxicants, and that will be a monk mode. Now, people think then, oh, yeah, that will be a monk mode. Another thing is to touch. Really, monks have, usually 300 to 400 rules, okay? 2027, there's all sorts of different monks, and they'll have couple hundred rules, really, so there's a lot to follow. So obviously we're not going to go that deep into it, but that's what we really mean. But for a lay person, these 5 would be quite good for a start. Okay, these are like extras that going more into Vipassana. This is not about Vipassana, this video is about monk mode. So these 5 are really good guideline. Now, people then think, well, what do we call this then? A challenge and a detox. Well, focus mode, deep focus, deep work mode, maybe they don't sound interesting enough. Well, if you really want to make it sound epic, because monk mode does sound pretty cool, why don't you call it gladiator mode? Gladiator mode. Okay? Gladiator. Now, it's a bit of a longer word, but, a gladiator is also probably not having intoxicants, probably not fucking around wasting time. He's committed to his work, yet definitely it's okay for him to eat meat and murder people on stage in Coliseum, okay, and to have sex. Okay, a gladiator will probably have a nice meal, some nice steak, go slash his way to the victory, and then come back and have his victorious sex with, 1, 2, or 3, or however many women they're gonna throw at him in after victory in Coliseum. Okay, I guess winner gets everything, right? Wouldn't that be a more interesting way to call it, a more interesting word to call it? Okay, that's your challenge right there. And the detox, well, it's just a bonus, right? You can fix your diet, eliminate sugar or cakes or whatever you want, but this way you're kind of bringing yourself, you're doing good for yourself. Yet if you call that gladiator mode, it'd be just a little bit more be just a little bit more realistic, right? That's probably too small. I'm just gonna zoom in. Gladiator mode, a challenge plus a detox. Doesn't that feel a little bit cooler? And look, this is not to kind of poop on someone's parade again, as I said. This is really just about bringing rigor, clarity, and specificity into language, okay? Because language is a tool, we want to use it right. Okay, we use hammer to hammer in nails. We use screws for screwdrivers. Yes, you can hammer in a screw, but you probably can't screw in a nail, right? So tools are used for what they're supposed to be used, and the more specific we're with language, better we're going to be in life, okay? Mastery of life comes from mastery of language. They might sound a little bit nonsense to you, like, what do you mean it's all about the skills? Well, all skills are based on your language anyway, okay? If you're doing marketing, if you're doing copywriting, if you're doing sales, it's all about language. If you're doing coding, it's about your coding language, your ability to use English language. It will be correlated to your using coding language, maybe not quite directly, or maybe not, but you know, your capability of using coding language will be directly correlated to how successful you are in writing your software. That's absolutely true. So that's really it, guys. Thank you. That's really for today. So thank you very much. If you like this video, like, comment, share, subscribe, click bell notification. If you disagree or you have some points to raise, put them in the comments. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a discussion. Okay, this is my opinion. This is not the ultimate truth yet. I do believe it is very right to use the language correctly. So stay present, stay rigorous, be specific, and see you later. Take care.